Had an interesting trip on 2CE about 2 to 3 years ago that gave me HPPD. Be me. New Year's Eve. Bought some 2CE from drug dealer friend who I sometimes trip. About 10 pills, maybe 20 milligrams each. Take one pill and wait for fireworks and shit with GF. Wait about an hour, nothing really happens, so I take 2 more pills, 60 milligrams total dose. 5 minutes after I ingest the other pills, the effects start to kick in. Colors everywhere, kinda wobbly effect, everything felt super soft like gum or marshmallows. Neat.jpg. Play Crash Bandicoot remake on PS4. Gets absorbed into Cartony world. Look around my apartment, everything is drawn in Cartony Chash Bandicoot style. GF turns into Tawna. Hot. Remember I took 2 more pills and turns off PS4 as I was not capable of playing the game. Everything fades from Cartony to more realistic. GF returns to normal. Looks at ceiling lamp. Lamp literally turns into 1,000 white butterflies and start dancing in a pattern. Lamp butterflies start spinning around faster and faster. I look around and realize that it's not the butterflies spinning, but the entire apartment. Hold on to couch for dear life. It stops. Tell GF I'm not feeling well and decide to try and sleep through the trip. Go to bed and close my eyes. Instantly teleported to ancient Egypt. See fractals and kaleidoscope visions morphing with pyramids and sphinxes. Feel like I'm being sucked out of space and time. Jumps from different dimensions, one weirder than the other. See advanced machinery and weird figs talk to me. Don't respond cause I'm autistic. Feels like I've been stuck outside of space and time for eternity. Kinda just accept defeat and gives up hope of ever finding home. Almost instantly as I give up, I'm teleported back in my own body. Wake up. Feeling more normal than before. I could tell that the effects were slowly subsiding. Accidentally wake up GF and end up fucking her brains out, felt godly. Probably best sex I've ever had. End up not going back to sleep. And kinda waited most of the day for the effect to disappear. The duration of the trip lasted about 24 hours until I felt like a human again. Had only slept for about 1.5 hours, but it felt like eternity. And since then every time I stare at a wall surface for more than 5 seconds I start getting fractals and weird kaleidoscope patterns. It has faded over time, but I still get it, just not as strongly as before. I've been posted this on some other image board already. Be me. Be 14. Having history class in school. Feel like ditching class, so I tell the teacher I have to take a piss. Head to the restroom to take a piss before going home and playing video. While taking a piss I hear a muffled squealing voice say something, but I can't make out what. Look around but I can't see a speaker or whatever could have made the sound. Keep pissing. Hear the voice again, less muffled this time. Can actually make out the words it says, which was reprehendo super twos. Start to get spooked cause I can't make out where the sound is coming from. Fuck right off out of the WC Beck, you spooked. I must have looked pretty pale and nervous because while passing through the hall I meet my English teacher who asks me what's wrong. Tell him what happened and what I heard the voice say. Teacher goes from fair to pale like a ghost in 0.1 nanoseconds. Tells me to wait right there. He goes to talk to the principal. Tells me I can tell anyone about this. Next day a priest shows up to the school. He goes into the restrooms, comes out after like half an hour, and talks to the principal and then leaves. Principal tells me again that I can't tell anyone about this. A few years pass and I graduate. Visit school that I used to go to. Meet the teacher in the hallway and remember the spooky shit about the restrooms. He tells me he wasn't supposed to tell anyone because he could lose his job, but I deserve to know. We go out behind the school and he tells me that a girl was raped in that bathroom. A few weeks later she became an hero. Remember the words I said that made teacher go white like sun, depraved cancer patient. Ask him about that. He asks me if I'm sure I want to know. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? He tells me reprehendo super twos is Latin for look above you. I'm kinda retarded but here lol. Be me. 15, living in a tweaker house in a tweaker town. 3 friends and I decide to do acid for our first time one weekend. 2 dudes, 1 girl. I'll call one Mark, 1 Sean, and the girl is Jess. We get the acid around 10 p.m. and head back to Jess's house. We all drop it together and smoke some weed while we're waiting. It hits us, and it almost feels like we feel each other's minds vibrating. Brain orgasms hit, and we sit there talking when it feels like Jess is in both mine and Sean's heads. It's hard to explain, but it felt like she invaded our mind and poked around for a second. We trip on that and chill with her cat for a while. Not sure what lead up to this, but Sean points and Mark and says you're heaven, points and Jess and says you're earth, and finally points at me and says you're hell. We're not sure what he means by this, but we're all tripping, so we shrug it off. After a while me and Mark leave Sean and Jess in the room because they wanted to be alone. We watch a scary movie for a little, and then we hear what sounds like a puppy crying or something related in the room next to us. I get up to check it out while Mark is chilling on the couch watching a movie. Don't see anything, and I turn to leave the room when I see something behind Jess's co-track. Tall, over 7 black figure with a white face crying and looking me in the eyes. Suddenly feel a pull in my chest, it felt like sorrow personified. I just stand there in silence for probably half a minute. I leave the room and decide not to tell anyone what I saw until the trip is over. Can't remember much else happening, but this has always stuck out to me. The place where I live attracts a lot of witchy pagan types, and I know for certain there is a tree where druids do rituals near me. The town I lived in is like a pit of despair, and I feel uneasy whenever I go back. Any idea what this could be? Be me, between 3 to 5 years old. Living at my paternal grandparents' house at the border with Costa Rica. There's a small creek that runs in front of the house. There's a wooden bridge, maybe 3 to 4 meters long, 6 meters wide, that you have to pass in order to reach the house. House is maybe 30 to 50 meters away from the bridge, but in the darkness, you can always hear somebody coming as they walk over the bridge by the sound it makes. One day we're sitting around the small TV watching Sabato Gigante. Grandma, Grandpa, Mum and I. We listen to the bridge wooden boards sound as if somebody is coming by bike. Grandma says Choco has arrived. Choco is the nickname of her youngest son. Nobody shows up. We continue watching TV and keep hearing the sound of the boards over and over again. Nobody says anything, and we keep waiting for somebody to show up. For context, you need to picture that there's only a few lights inside the house and none pointing in the direction of the bridge. My grandpa gets uneasy and asks my mom and I to go into our room. Here's a combination of what I remember and what I was told happened next. Grandma is Baptist Christian religious and Grandpa Baptist hunter for life. Grandma thinks there's a witch or something messing with us that night. Grandma grabs a blessed cross from a popular church people go in the middle of the country. The cross is made of palm tree leaves, pick 100% related. Grandma starts praying and walks to the bridge and tells whatever it is bothering us to go away. Grandma walks to the bridge and slides in the crucifix through the openings between the wooden boards of the bridge. Immediately after this, something huge drops into the water under the bridge and starts running downstream making loud weird noises. Grandma falls back down praying. Grandpa comes to help her up. Shortly after that, my uncle, who we were all expecting, shows up in his bike. I have more stories if you want. PT1. Be me, 15 years old or so. Go hunting with my dad, couple of his brothers and grandpa. They love doing this, but I rather not spend nights in the jungle with mosquitoes, snakes, etc. Family owns land in the jungle, somewhere in Pick related. There's a 2 stories wooden cabin uphill from a creek in a valley where we hunt peccary, lowland paca and deer. It takes 2 hours to walk to the cabin, where dogs and local hunters we are friends are waiting for us. It's a clear sky with full moon. We split to different game trails in the valley. I'm in a hammock high up a tree, and my dad sitting in a branch next to me with a rifle. We all have walkie-talkies as to warn each other if we see something. Suddenly the dogs start barking, and we think they found game. Everybody's on alert. I don't have a gun because kid, but I have binoculars and a good overview of the valley. Suddenly I hear a loud metallic sound, like a large rusty machine moving about. I notice my dad hears it too and he asks me to give him the walkie-talkie. As he is about to ask if anybody heard it, the dogs go silent. My youngest uncle comes through the walkie-talkies and says, "Hey Anon bro, do you see that light over the creek?" He's on the opposite side of the valley, so he can see farther to the east of the valley from where we are. Oldest uncle replies, "Fuck yes, look, it's hovering over the creek. Do you hear the dogs?" Dad and I are listening to the conversation and suddenly the light starts to pass in front of us. It slowly hovers over the creek, as if it's following its path. The light is bright white and shines the entire forest like an LED lamp pointing towards small grass. Be me, 16 years old. We've been living in Panama City for 10 years now. After renting all this time, we move into our own house in the suburbs towards the west. Spend a lot of time studying, because I go to an old renowned private high school, where most subjects are taught in English. My room's desk is placed in front of a window, pick absolutely related. I have a rosary hanging from one of the things you spin to open and close the glass windows, pick grell. It's a short, metal rosary my grandma gave me at some point. It doesn't have all the beads, I think just 5 or so. It hangs there, and it can't fall, because it's like a hook to it. One day I'm studying there in the afternoon, and as I sit there, a strong shit smell comes through. Think it's the plumbing, or something as they're still building new houses down the road from my place, so trucks come and go all day. Immediately as I lift my head up, the rosary flings through the air 2 to 3 meters towards the door, as if somebody had taken it and thrown it. I look at where it is now, thinking to myself what the fuck lol. Come out of the room and tell mom, who thinks I should pray more, and we put the rosary back in its place. I didn't feel uneasy or anything when it happened. I'm not a devout Christian, but I respect religious beliefs. Had one that really pissed me the fuck off. Be me sleepin' and dreamin'. Living in a city with public transportation. Riding the bus to go somewhere. Girl I have crush on gets on bus, sits with me, we hold hands. Decide to go back to her place and cook dinner. All well and good sweet dream. Be cookin' dinner together. People suddenly show up. Leave room kitchen for a second. Go back, doors locked. Bunch of people walk out, and some people I recognize are holding back laughter. Girl won't look at me or talk to me anymore, just walks out and leaves. People I recognize won't say anything, just stand there smirking and laughing at my face. Id quiet, but this shit pissed me off so much that I don't even want to ask this girl out anymore, not that I really wanted to because reasons, but WTF, why can't I just enjoy a dream without people pissing me off? Be me. Be waiting for the Uber car to pick me up at a corner. It's 20:30. A bus stops at the corner. Passengers come down and start attacking everybody in the street for no reason. There's an empty spot covered in grass somewhere near. I hide there. They find me and start beating me up. Get up and hiss at them. Start attacking them. Previous night dreamed this. 30,202,974. Be me. Ailmao. Chilling in my space turd. Flight to a mixed gas rock system to refuel. Detect an inhabited world. Bank hard and accelerate behind the sun. Not gonna fuck with the Bureau of Alien Affairs by trespassing on a reservation. Don't want alien agents outside my ship.